We're in the same boat.
I know. Oh, we are live. Good day, guys. Welcome to I'm the Data. We focus on inner beings, creating our inner purpose and dealing with our path and leadership. And when dealing with that, we'll find many different, what I would say, industries or basic occupations that I run across that actually addresses this matter. And one of those people is actually Christin and Franklin we're talking about today. And our topic is powerful. Fill your cup to pour into others. And I definitely like your insight into this topic. And I've been watching Christina for a while. She actually was one of my first guests when I actually started on the Data. And it was an amazing conversation then. And, I have some more clips that you can see from her. And it's going to be an amazing conversation today as well. So welcome, Christina Franklin. Welcome to the show. And it's amazing to have you.
Thank you, Nathaniel. Thank you so much for having me again. I'm really honored to be here. And I love being in conversation with you. So it's always a pleasure.
Definitely. Yeah, so we don't really do interviews on Armadillo, which actually creates a different niche for us. But we just want to look at what it is to fill your own cup to be able to pour into others. Like, what is that? Because I was actually looking at a saying from Maya Angelou, and Maya Angelou said in a saying, she said that when you heal yourself, go out and heal others.
Yes.
Right. And how does that resonate with you?
Oh gosh, that completely resonates with me. Actually, that's why I got certified as a health coach. And it's so interesting because everybody has to go through an interview process to even be accepted to the program. And their screening process must be very good because everybody had pretty much the same kind of story. Like they've had some kind of wellness transformation and they want to be able to pass it on to others and help others who are on their journey. So that's exactly what motivated me to go from being burnt out to trying to help others to prevent burnout.
Yeah, and when we're looking at the burnout, it's a lot of time it's just subjective to what we're actually doing, but it's not actually who we are. It's not really what we really experiencing a lot of times. We may be feeling out, we're going through these different changes. And it's always well to basically compartmentalize those things so you can do the things that you need to do. A lot of times, like we'll go through channels in our lives and we'll take those energies in and just lock those things in and don't release. So, the same way we do with, harmful things, we hold harmful things in. We're supposed to release those things, but the good things we have, we definitely is supposed to basically remove those things as well, right? And it's not a negative. You want to hold on to, let's say you get the secret spell, right, to make you perfect, right, to make you righteous, right? Would you share that spell?
Of course.
You share that potion, right?
Yeah,
because you don't want to be the only righteous person in the world.
Yeah.
Right? They're gonna be running you down. You're a celebrity now. Like, how she get righteous and not us, right? And
exactly.
It's good to and the word that you use, righteous, comes with this has a weird connotation to it. The concept of righteous, because they try to associate that concept to like individuals like Christ or Buddha, and it's like a superficial concept. It's a real superficial concept that they have actually related to us about Christ and other men and women, because they don't let us see their downfall. They don't let us see the making of their process and getting to where they got to get to, right? It's like Christ said in the scriptures. He said, Rome wasn't built in a day, right? Yes. So he had to be correlating that to himself as well.
Of course.
But they don't show us that side of Christ. They don't show us the struggling. They don't show us they talk about the fasting. Yeah, they mention the fasting, but they don't go through the process of the fasting that Christ had to go through for 40 days.
Yes. Right?
40 days and 40 nights. That's an amazing transformation for any man. Any man would able to do a 40-day, when I say man, I mean men and women, they would go 40-day and a 40-night fast. It's going to be a phenomenal individual.
Yes.
But there are underlying facts that go with that fasting that people don't speak about.
It's true. It's a process. There's always a process, and the ugly things behind the scenes, that people don't talk about. It's not all fun and games, and it's
Yeah, it's
not
like
all,
you look at the quick
like
fix.
repeating affirmations to yourself and feeling motivated. It's not all that. Even
Mm.
people think, when you're down or when you're going through a challenge, you just take this technique, apply it, and you just bounce back up. And it doesn't work like that sometimes. Sometimes it'll work, sometimes it won't. Sometimes you have to literally feel like you're clawing your way through bit by bit, and you don't even have the get up and go to try to apply that technique. You're like, what technique? I can't even think about that right now.
Yeah, 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 because
Sometimes your mind is so cloudy.
yeah, you can't find it, and that is amazing too, right? It's like that's amazing. You you try to find a strategy to actually be a better person, right? To create
Mhm.
these principles of who you are, these value systems, these moralistic structures, right?
Mhm.
But how do you do it without clarity? Right?
Yes.
If you're in like you, that's a great point. If you're in a space of confusion, right, and you're trying to come out of the space of confusion, how do you do that without clarity?
Yep.
Right? So when they speak about, oh, all you got to do is this and all you got to do is that, that manifestation also has to take place in here. It also has to take place within the heart, within the mind and
Yes.
spirit, for you to be able to tap into what processes that you have to go through to get to where you got to go to, right?
Correct.
And people don't look at that. So
Mhm.
if you just say, "Oh, I'm just gonna fast," right?
Mhm.
You got to look at your eating habits before you
Yes.
start fasting. You know, is your body able to sustain a fast from the type of substances that you actually putting inside your body?
Yes.
Kind of meats, what type of drinks, that you use for your body? Do you consume a lot of water on a daily basis? So when you don't
Mhm.
have that
It's
water
true.
consumption and you want to fast for 3 days, then you're able to do that effortlessly. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
And it's not going to be a problem for you. But if you're a person where you just drinking juice all day, just eating snacks all day, and you just jump and say, I just want to fast for 3 days, you might actually hurt yourself in that fast.
Of course. And also, because my focus is on stress management, I also tell people be careful about fasting when you are doing something that may not be related to bad stress, but good stress. Even the good stress can turn into bad stress. So, you have something exciting coming up and you're all excited. That's the good stress. But along with that comes some hard work that has to go into it. So that's the other side. And in those moments, I typically say to people, that's not the best time to be fasting because you're already going through changes. Your brain is trying to adapt to changes, your body is trying to adapt as you're doing new things. And then you're going to throw in a fast. And if you're not used to fasting, especially, that's another new thing on top of that. So your poor body and brain eventually are going to feel like, oh my gosh, this is overwhelming. So you really have to choose your timing carefully and you have to know what feels right for you because what
Yeah,
works for somebody else will not necessarily work for you for sure.
yeah, because you don't
So,
want to.
yeah.
They got a favorite saying where they talk about the spirit wars against the body and the body wars against the
Hmm.
spirit, right? But
Yep.
it's also with the mind, it's also with the heart, right?
Yes.
And you have to be careful, and those things have to be in alignment to who you
Yes.
are when you go into these
True.
places, man. You gotta be enriched in spirit, right? You gotta be enriched in
Yes.
hope. You gotta be enriched in faith, right?
Hmm.
Even mercy and compassion for yourself, because when
Yes.
you
That's a
go,
big one.
yo, when you going through a fast, right?
Hmm.
The things about you a lot that you don't like, or the things about you that you refuse to recognize, they
Hmm.
pop up. You
Hmm.
can't run from them, right? Because
Yes.
now you're in a space of silence, right? You're in a space of
Hmm.
meditation, in a sense. So now this information that you actually basically been withholding or actually denying to come to the surface for awareness, now it automatically comes to the surface for awareness. And now you have to address it and deal with it.
Yes.
And some of the times when you're going through those fasts and those things start peeking out at you, you may stop the fast
Hmm. Yep.
because the awareness might be too strong for you to obtain.
Yeah, it can be jarring.
Yeah, you don't want the thing about cleansing yourself is actually cleansing yourself. It's
Hmm.
actually not denying any part of yourself. It's actually
Yes.
accepting every inch of who you are. whether you feel it as being good, whether you feel it as being bad. You
That's the
know,
hard part. That's the hardest part.
yeah, because those things, and we actually talking about fill your cup. Those things are your cup.
Hmm.
Actually dealing with things like emotional intelligence. Right?
Yes.
You're dealing with mental awareness. Right? You're dealing with spiritual enrichments. Right? Those all
Hmm.
those things are in the cup. And
Yes.
as you fill that cup up, this miraculously, this new burst of energy just takes over you. It
It's true.
moves you, right? You start speaking in ways you didn't speak before. You hear
Hmm.
in ways you never heard before, right? And you start processing things and doing things in a way that's unimaginable. Like, is this me? You might have to stop one time
Yeah.
and like really pinch yourself and say, "This is really me. This is what I do. This is what did I just say that?" Right?
Yes.
And
I've
it's
done that. That's happened to me for sure. I'm like, what? Where did that come from?
like, how did I put that together?
Yes.
It's just, I didn't even think about that.
Yeah.
It's like I might go and do a speech and I just come out saying something. I'm like, I didn't even think about that.
Yeah.
When I was writing a speech or when I was analyzing a speech. But it's like the spirit takes over you when
Oh
you're in
yeah.
such a space and when you're doing things that's according to the passion of who you are, right? And being accepted of who you are in the world. And even sometimes even the images that's in the world about you, right?
Hmm.
Things
Yes.
that's channeled about you. There's energies in the world, and some of those energies create a story about you that you don't even know about,
Yeah, it's true.
right? And as you
Hmm.
pour in your cup, you're going to realize that there's going to be many stories that you have to actually address and even navigate as you're doing this. Your story as well as other people's stories.
Yes. And give yourself grace in the process. That's one of the most difficult things. Understanding that it really is a process. There's nothing overnight about it. And for everything you discover about yourself, you remind yourself you're going to give yourself grace and compassion. So when we care for others, we are kind to others, we show kindness easily. A lot of people do that. You feel like this person needs my help, I'm going to help them. That's good. But then when it comes to us, if we really listen to our own self talk and we listen to our
Mm.
thoughts, are we being kind to ourselves?
A lot of times we're not.
Yeah, exactly.
We're really, really critical about who we are. We're critical
Yes.
about, our talents, our abilities, our gifts.
Yes.
It's always a concept. I'm not good enough.
Yes, that's
I
it.
was reading something and it was really enlightening because it was saying that, the reason why the people in this time don't feel that they're good enough, the reason why they're always in their head about, their accomplishments or, their failures and things of that nature is because they get to go on social media and see somebody that's doing way better than them.
Yep.
They get to go on TV and see somebody that's
Mhm.
grandiose, right? And that can barely
Mhm.
even speak, and they actually are successful. And they're like, I can speak, I know the whole encyclopedia backwards and forward, and I can't get to this plateau.
Yes.
And these start creating negative viewpoints
Mhm.
about who we are because we're looking outside of ourselves into spaces that really don't concern us. These
Yes,
people that's doing what they're doing in the world is what they're doing in the world. It has nothing to do with us.
that's true.
It has nothing to do with it. This is an outside body experience. When we come outside of our spaces to intervene and interject ourselves in
Mhm.
other people's spaces, we lose our own space.
Yes.
We're not doing in a space of harmony, of being harmonious. We're not doing a space of love. We're not doing a space of compassion. You know what I'm saying? Then we shouldn't be
Mhm.
doing it. We shouldn't be going into spaces that don't belong to us, right? Or I
Mhm.
want to be a millionaire, right? Okay, you might be a millionaire, and then what happens? What happens
Mhm.
to your life? Your life may shift,
Yeah.
and it may shift for the best. It may shift for the worst. You don't know
Mhm.
that, right? So
Yes.
projecting yourself into spaces, other people's lives, and what people have and don't have, and those different things.
Mhm.
It's basically like suicide against yourself in a way.
It's
It's
true.
basically like
Yes.
it's a detriment to you because it
Mhm.
doesn't allow you to find your true space. It doesn't allow you to go through your mistakes. It doesn't allow you to develop to where you need to be. You're looking outside and say, I want to be that person. I want to have those things. But that,
Yeah.
that person is not you. And those things that person have, they might have been benefit you. They might have been enhance your life in one
Yep.
bit. And it's really seeing that, yo, this
Mm-hmm.
is about me. It has nothing to do with nobody else. This is about me. If I need to get my finances up, I gotta focus on this. If I need to focus on my relationship, I gotta focus on this. If I gotta build
Mm-hmm.
my inner being, if I gotta get myself away from, any type of substances or things of that nature to increase myself, these are the things I have to do to move myself to the next level. But
Yes.
it's about grace. It's about gratitude for your baby steps, for your
For
accomplishments that,
sure.
that you want to be able to achieve, maybe not in a short period of time, but through a process of time, through a process of faith, process of hope, and understand that you have the right to make a difference in your life. And the outside perspective of your life is optical illusion.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people that have things that you think they have things, a lot of those things are optical illusions as well.
Yeah.
you're just seeing the outskirts. You're not really seeing behind closed doors. And
Yes.
these are things that we really have to move away from because if we don't move away from those things, how do we pour into our cup?
Yeah. And we need to observe people truly from our sense of knowing ourselves. So, not observing people from an ideal that we have in our heads. But for example, when I came into coaching, I thought, there are these coaches who've been doing this much longer than I have. And of course, there are things that I can learn from them. And we can take those bits that we can learn from people, but we need to remember that we need to adapt them to us. We need to take the bits that are aligned with us and shape them and mold them into what fits our energy. And I found with a lot of coaches, particularly females, I found that I could feel, because I'm tuned into stress, I could feel their overworked type of energy.
Mm-hmm.
Like it wasn't about what they were saying, it wasn't about what they were doing, it wasn't about their accomplishments. I could feel that as they were talking, whether they were talking to me one on one or whether they were talking to an entire group. I could
Right.
feel that sense of being flustered and frazzled, and not that they were disorganized. They were perfectly organized. They were used to doing what they were doing. But behind that, I could still feel that bit of, gosh, this is taking a lot out of me. All the lead up to it. You could tell.
Right.
And we need to be sensitive to that. And because I am particularly tuned into that kind of thing, that's me observing very much from my own sense of self and what I want to take from them and what I don't want to take, right? So I immediately could sense, okay, so yes, there's some things that I like here, but how can I do this in a way that it doesn't drain me? Because I've been burned out before. I'm not going back there, not by any means. I'm
Mm.
going to find a way to do it that is in line with my path. And their story is not my story. So I need to do what works for me for sure. So that's something that I think we all need to remember as we watch other people and we see what they're doing in the world.
Yeah.
Even if it's similar to what we're doing, we all have different stories, we have different paths. So we just need to remember that.
Yeah, definitely. And even when you in close, quarters with people, friendships, relationships, things of that nature, it's really imperative that people be able to find their true self, you know what I'm saying, even
Mhm.
within your own space. It is important for you to find your true self in that space because that's the only way that vibration of energy that's supposed to actually exist between these components is able to vibrate and go on and actually create new beginnings. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? And create new substances because we're not here to be stagnated,
Mhm.
to do the same thing over and over and over and over again like an old record. We're not here for that. We're here to
Yes.
challenge ourselves, to move ourselves beyond things. I was doing a march. I was doing a march and a speech the other day, and somebody, because I'm always on social media. So somebody, reached out to me and was saying to me that, there's no reason to do this march or this speech, to close Rockets, things of that nature, because they're never going to close it,
Mm.
and I was like, I was very humble, with that, and I said, something, brother, we have responsibilities when we see things that's in the world. And if our spirit resonates with those things, we move accordingly to address those things. But I say, this is one of our responsibilities, hence the book of Job, right? Because he's coming from me from a religious perspective, right? So I understand your religious perspective because I read your books, right? I understand your books. So when I went to the book of Job, you said you're right. And that was it. I didn't hear nothing else from him because when you go in the book of Job, it tells you how to pour into your cup, fill your cup up in order to pour into others. Because you have passages in the book of Job, probably like chapter 9 or something, where Job was like, he hear he hear atrocity, he hears somebody being mistreated in the land, he going to investigate, you know what I'm saying? And then he gonna put the matter, you know what I'm saying, to ease. He gonna address the matter at the investigation. He gonna go to the person, he gonna address the matter with that person, he gonna dissolve the matter, right? And when I hit him with that, all he can say is, whoa, because now you gotta look at your spiritual learnings. You gotta look at your spiritual teachings, right? Are they really important, right? All the spiritual teachings that you're learning from the Quran, from the Bible, from the Hindu texts and things of that nature, all those things are essential to filling up your cup so you can be ordered to pour into others, right? Because we have a religious world. Everywhere I go, somebody's in a religion, right? Somebody's a spiritualist, somebody's a healer. There's all different type of things that's going on, but are we able to resonate those things in real time with each other, or is it just with a healer when we on a podcast? Is it just a healer like when we doing our social media, right? Are we, is that the only time that we're healers?
Hmm.
Are we healers in real time with real people, you know, showing real life values and purposes that we want to resonate, within life? Like if you go into the book of Revelations, it talks about city paved with gold streets and rubies and diamonds and pearls and things of that nature. Do we want that type of existence for ourselves on this plane? Right? Would you put a gold street, a man go on and dig up the gold street and go pawn it, right? Or we allow the gold street to continue, right?
Right.
So, this is a value that we want people to have within themselves so we can pour that into life.
Mm-hmm.
Right? It's not just to other people, but life itself, life in general. The type of trees we have, in our communities, the type of stone that we use, or or acoustics that we use, to increase our mental abilities, to
Yes.
to increase, what I mean, our heart substance and things of nature. Like, oh, that's beautiful. Wow. It increases you as a new form of energy. It is and it's
Mm-hmm.
might be a pain and say, oh, I got an idea now, right? You may be
Yeah.
having some great, heartfelt conversations with people where you actually start discovering things about yourself that you never knew.
Oh, yeah. That happens to me all the time. All the time. And, having that kind of support, it's not support where this person is your best friend and you might talk to them every day, but just being surrounded by the right people and being very intentional about who you want to be in your circle, who you want to be surrounded by. Not that you're trying to be cliquey or anything,
Mm.
but you're just choosing carefully the kind of energy you want around you. And when you have that kind of system and that kind of network around you, people that you can talk to today that you haven't talked to for 5 years and it feels like you haven't missed a beat,
Right. So
that is what really can lift you up when you need it.
yeah, you have to be able to, create great energies in the world
Yes.
and to be able to continue that. I did a speech the other day, but it didn't come out right. Well, the concept of it, I'll probably go back over it. But it was actually like I had a concept came to me like a little piece of thread, and I was like, imagine that, you have this long yards of thread. Like say your thread of success is 1,000,000 miles, right? And just say
Mhm.
just start getting snipped along the way and just running with this one little piece of thread. Would you be grateful that you had that one little piece of thread left? You know what I mean?
Mhm.
To get your life back on track,
Yes.
to get you out of it. dark, unfamiliar space, that one little thread, I was like, yes, I would be grateful for that one little thread, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe it could have been a metaphysical question that was coming to me from the universe and asking me, would I be grateful for this one little thing?
Yes.
Yes, I would be grateful for that, you know. And I remember King David said, I'll be grateful you just make me a doorman, you know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying, in one of your
Mm-hmm.
mansions, right?
Yes.
You ain't got to make me king. You ain't got to make me this. Just, I'm humble. I'm grateful
Yes.
for this compassion that you're going to show me in whatever way you're going to show it to me. And I was thinking like, yeah, that one little thread is powerful because I could keep pulling that thread. I could
Yeah.
thread, right? I could get my integrity intact. I could pull my morals, my belief systems, my values. I start
Yes.
stretching to my organization. Then I start stretching to my strategies and my implementation skills. So I just take that one little thing, I just start stretching and stretching and stretching it, right? I start stretching into better relationships,
Yeah.
a greater purpose, right? More insight for my life. I just start stretching it. Oh my God, let me get a book out of this, right? I'm going to do all the different things that I need to do and just stretch this little thread, right? So
Yeah.
open me up, man. I need to be open up to
Yes.
express myself. And that's sometimes when you have all these this long threads and it start getting chopped up, it's
Yep.
telling
Or
you,
tangled up.
or it's telling you don't need
Yeah.
it. It's telling you don't need it anymore. It's ran its course, right?
Yes.
You got the thread left that you have, use that.
Yes.
We in a time right now where loss seems to be inevitable, right?
Mm-hmm.
People are
Yep.
losing loved ones, they're
Yes.
losing their capital, people are losing their minds. I'm in New York. I go on a train,
Mm.
it's like a war zone.
Mm.
I'm like, this is war right here. I go
Mm-hmm.
see homeless men on the train sleeping,
Mm.
no shoes on, ask for money, and men and women, and it's just like
Yeah.
you live in a world where we have to pour into each other because we
Yeah.
don't want that type of world. Like we don't want a world where we got to get on the train and people sleeping on the train. That's not
Mm-hmm.
the world that we want to have in society.
Mm-hmm.
And for us to be able to create these different type of worlds is beyond some of us, right?
Yeah.
So, some of us we say, "Oh wow, that's crazy," and other of
Mm-hmm.
us say, every man is for himself,"
Mm.
and I just look at that concept and that metaphor and look at it like, imagine a tree thought like that.
Exactly. Yeah. It's true.
You would pass out if the tree be like, you know what?
Yep.
I ain't give, I ain't giving no carbon dioxide to Christina. He can't get none of my stuff today. You know, I'm good. I'm selfish, bro. Like, so
Yeah.
I need all my stuff for myself, bro. I'm trying to get taller. So
Yeah.
I'm trying to get a bigger whiff. If I give up my energy, man, she gonna still be alive and I'm gonna be diminished, right?
Yep.
And the tree doesn't think like this,
Yes.
right? The sun don't think like this, the moon that controls the waters, we don't have all type of floods and
Mm-hmm.
catastrophes. Don't think like this. It constantly keeps the waters at bay so we won't be flooded, so we can go take a swim in the beach, and don't just get
Mm-hmm.
caught up in some type of whirlwind or something like that. You
Yeah.
know? And nature, it doesn't treat us the way we treat each other. You know,
Mm-hmm.
when we go outside, the air is for everybody, the oxygen for everybody. It's
Yeah.
not like, this is not your day to come outside. You know what I'm saying? If you come outside,
Yeah.
you ain't gonna get back up. So don't come outside, right? It doesn't do that. It allows all of us to have free will and to enjoy its purposes and
Yes.
its value that it has for our lives. You know, and it's just ironic to see that what nature has taught us,
Mm-hmm.
we haven't learned the value of it.
Oh yeah. Big time. Yeah. But it goes back to what that person was saying about the protest that you were in, where it seems like these problems are so big that sometimes that's the excuse people have. I can't make a difference. I'm just one person. If I even try to help somebody, that's not going to solve their full problem. I might just be helping them, yeah, for today, and then they still have the same problem. So why even bother? Why bother to try to change this thing that seems so big? But the little things we do can have a ripple effect that we can't predict. And it's really about day by day and step by step. You have no idea how being a loving parent and your child growing up in a home of love can then transfer to that child growing up and showing love to others.
That's correct. That's correct.
It's literally that simple.
It's that simple. Yeah, if you teach a child on values of being antisocial,
Mm-hmm.
right? To disrespect other people, to
Mm-hmm.
not consider, the values, and even, the emotions or feelings of other people,
Mm-hmm.
and you're creating an individual that you wouldn't want to run into on a dark night walking home from work. Right?
Exactly.
You got to think about this individual that you create. Right? Because somebody, all right, it was something that comes out when we're looking at scientific facts and things of that nature, right?
Mm-hmm.
So when America got the concept of creating a bomb, the Russians and the Chinese and all the other nations also got the same concept, basically at simultaneously at the same time to create the
Mm-hmm.
same bomb, right?
Mm-hmm.
Which make sure that nobody has advantage over the other, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you as an individual are creating your children in this type of way, there's somebody else that's out there in the world that's creating their children or have created their children in a certain way, and you may run into these individuals, and you won't want to run into these individuals. That's why
Yes.
when we start talking about karma, right?
Mm-hmm.
Don't create nothing in the world that you don't want to come back to, regardless of
Mm-hmm.
what it may be. I don't care. I don't care what it is. I don't care
Yes.
how you dice it up. What picture you create with it doesn't even matter.
Mm-hmm.
You don't want that same thing back in return.
Mm-hmm.
There's really no reason to dish it out,
It's
right?
true. Yeah.
And you don't want to pour ill values into other people. It's like,
Mm-hmm.
it's amazing, like, you have children and you may pour this into your child, but it's amazing that you may pour something negative into your child,
Oh
and
yeah.
you're not going to be around to undo it because you're not going to live forever, right?
Yes.
And so if your child outlives you, that means that value, what I'm saying, that you
Mm-hmm.
place in your child, that child going to be living that out, for the rest of their lives. And hopefully that value, whatever, if it was good, they can help them continue and get through the different challenges of the world.
Mm-hmm.
But if you create negative values, there are a lot of other negative consequences that come with those values. And
Yeah.
we don't want those things to resonate in the world. We really don't want them. We may create these negative concepts. We may be doing all these, different things. Like I was looking at an interview with Fryman. Fryman, he was
Mm-hmm.
the owner of FXT, right? That
Okay. Mm-hmm.
cryptocurrency that went under
Mm-hmm.
fraud.
Mm-hmm.
And the man asked him a question. He said, how does it feel to go from 2 billion to 100,000?
Mm.
And he couldn't even answer. He was he was
Yeah.
answer. What? What?
Yep.
What was that question again? Like, it's like, you know, and look, he was out here defrauding all these people. He destroyed people's lives,
Mhm.
and now his life is in a space he can't even recognize.
Right.
Right? And you don't want to be in those spaces in the world. So you don't want to create certain things that's in the world that you
Mhm.
don't want. You don't want to live yourself. And I think that's one
Of
of
course.
the purposes of pouring into one another. You want
Mhm.
to pour in great values into each other.
Yes.
As you see somebody down, you want to ask them, "You okay today?"
Yeah, it's the little things. Yeah, for sure.
Sometimes you're
And
gonna
even
get cursed out.
yeah,
That's cool.
that's one thing.
It's gonna happen. Mind your business. Sometimes it's gonna go down. Sometimes you're gonna get a little offended. Like, you're gonna feel like, shit. Should I continue this value of asking people they're all right? Should I continue this value of helping other people? Should I
Mhm.
continue this value of having an open heart and an
Yeah.
open spirit towards change? Towards life. Or
Yeah.
should I just close up? Like everybody else, or the movie I just saw where a woman got betrayed and she just flipped with everybody. Maybe I should close up
Mm.
like that. And it's like, you know what? These are my moralistic values.
Yes.
These are my metaphysical gifts that have been given to me, right? Who am I to deny who I am? You know what I mean? For the purpose of others.
And it's
Right?
all about filling up your cup again, because, going back to the scenario with parents. Now, we saw a mother with her child just literally last night. And for everything the child did, for every movement, and then the child was not running around, but every time the child just shifted or did something restless, the mother was like, no, 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 quarreling with the poor child, literally every few seconds. And the child's a child. Of course, the child is going to be moving. The child is not going to stand like a statue. But you could see from even her facial expression, this is not to judge her. This is just what happens with cures, period. I'm my mother's primary caregiver. I get it. Everything can feel like it piles onto you. And if you're not filling up your own cup, it just comes out in the worst way. So you just got to be real careful.
That's right. You got to be careful because it's going to come out in ways.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's an unconscious thing. That's why it's so important, maybe to get up in the morning and do a 2-minute, silence, not think about nothing, just silence, a 2-minute meditation, just some way to make sure that you take care of yourself, because whether you know it or not, we can't defeat the negativities in the world.
Yes.
Right? There's no way to navigate around negativity in the world. You can't see negativity just like you can't see air. Right? It comes out of nowhere. People can
yes.
you know what I'm saying, instantly. Right? One day you might have a casual conversation with a person, next moment a person might be attacking you. Right?
Yeah.
No, I was watching a skit, I was not a skit, but I was watching the news, whatever, but it's sad. But a Spanish guy was just coming off of work. He was in the train station, he was just walking, had the headphones on. There was another guy who was on the other side of the platform and just came and hit him with a football move and knocked him onto the train tracks. Right? You can't. So the guy says, I'm never going to take the train again. Right? Because that one person did something to him that probably would never happen to him again.
Right.
Like in a 3 million to 1 ratio, right? Probably would never, ever, ever happen to him again. But that experience is going to be with him for a lifetime.
Yeah.
He might even teach his children that experience. Don't ever take the train.
Walk
if you got to walk 50 blocks. Walk to where you got to go. Even if you got a suit and it's 90 degrees.
Walk
50 blocks. Train is dangerous, right?
Yeah.
And so things happen to us in the world.
Yes.
And they attach themselves onto us.
Yes.
The things that attach themselves onto us, they don't want to let us go freely. Because it took them a long time, and it probably was a difficult process for those things to finally be able to attach themselves to you.
Yes.
Sometimes when you're in a certain spiritual space, in a certain spiritual power, things that want to basically interject, your growth.
Oh, yeah.
Is not able to, because you got this great vibration. You got this energy that's coming off of you. But as soon as that energy starts dwindling down, then all these different forces and whatever is coming into your path.
Yeah.
Uproot you and derail you from what you need to do. And you keep pushing through it.
It's
this
true.
Is how you fill your cup, is about keep pushing through it.
Yeah.
Your resolve actually increases your mental, increases the heart, increases your spirit,
Yeah.
increases your gut on moving forward, even when you're like, man, I'm exhausted, man. I can't do this anymore.
Yes, I've had those days.
Yeah,
I can tell you.
The recognition I'm supposed to get, and this is when you know that you're almost there.
Yes.
You're almost there when all these doubtful things start coming and all these different things start challenging you. That means you right there. Just got to turn the key.
Yes.
You got to implement who you are now.
Yeah.
Because first, it comes first as a thought, right? That thought turns to like a fantasy or some type of awesome vision, right? And you play with that for a little while. Start playing with the thought or the vision of changing or developing or getting out of this job or moving yourself out of this situation or increasing that. You entertain those things, right?
Right.
But as you entertain them, many things start coming and say, well, you should do it like this. This variation might come, or this variation might come, and
Yeah.
and now you got all these different variations that you can use.
Mm-hmm.
That's at your disposal. Some are harmful and some are not,
Mm-hmm.
right? And you have to pick the right one. And once you pick it, now you got to implement it.
Right.
You got to break it down into the lowest compound and then put it back together for yourself. So
Yeah.
you can be who you need to be in the world for yourself. It's not has nothing to do with this people, you're looking at, I want to be famous. I want to be this. You may not
Mm-hmm.
want to, might want to walk out your house without somebody saying, oh, you such and such, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, you might not be that person. I want
Yep.
people to be taking pictures of you all day, every day. But like, I
Exactly.
have the potential to be famous, but I don't want to be famous. I just want to be comfortable, you know,
Mm-hmm.
sort of stay a little bit under the radar.
Yeah.
My last book, I didn't put the in for a reason because I didn't want
Mm-hmm.
everybody to buy it to make me super rich, like, you know what I mean? Stuff like that. But it's just like understanding, like, not everything is for everybody,
Yep.
right? And pouring into you is identifying who you are,
It's true.
your true values, your principles.
Mm-hmm.
What's your
Mm-hmm.
insight for life?
Yes.
What do you want to do with your legacy? Right? This
Mm-hmm.
is pouring into you. And as you increase those things, you find innovative ways to actually be able to increase others that's around you,
Yeah.
others that's outside of your reach. I talk to people from France, people coming from France to Nathaniel. I gotta talk to you. I know you might understand this, and I'll talk to them.
Mm-hmm.
I don't say, "Oh, you gotta send me $50." No, I don't. I just have a conversation with them.
Right.
Man, and
Mm-hmm.
they go about their day, and I might not hear from them again, but whatever substance that I was able to provide, hopefully it was helpful to them, and they was able to go and apply it, or even ease their mind or their spirit. Because sometimes you may think that you're the only one that's going through a situation, but it's
Oh
not true.
yeah. Yeah, it's true.
It's not true.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
There are others that can really help you in spaces where you're denying yourself to learn.
Mm-hmm. It all starts with an open heart because if you begin with that sense of there's a world that's full of possibility, and you carry that sense with you, and you carry that intention to go out into the world with love for people, that is what then brings people to you in ways that you don't expect.
Yeah,
I've
yeah,
had people sit next to me wherever, bus stop, on a coach, wherever, and they tell me their whole life story. I didn't ask them anything, I was just
yeah.
there.
And
But
I'm
when
not even
they,
certified. I'm gonna have to come to you and get and be a certified coach, right? 'Cause, that same thing happens to me like all the
there you
time.
go. Yeah.
I have people
It's
come to
that
me and
open
just
spirit.
I have people just kiss me on the cheek. Like I done been in spaces of people just walking to me and just kiss me on the cheek.
Yeah.
I may do a speech, and stuff like that, and somebody say thank you, and then kiss me on the cheek, and I'm like, hey, thank you, and you're looking at your spiritual blessings in the world. We
Hmm.
always out here, all these physical blessings that we can touch, you know, but there are other blessings, man, that's
Yeah.
out here that's waiting
Yeah,
for
for
us,
sure.
you know,
For sure.
that man cannot take, he cannot put into his nice little cage or his nice little box,
Hmm.
right? And those are the gifts that you need, for your life.
Hmm. Yes.
You need the gift of love. You need the gift of how to show compassion, how to
Hmm.
show forgiveness and mercy.
Yeah.
You don't want to create a legacy for your existence that will follow you throughout the course of times. Not
Hmm.
now, but at the course of times. You don't want that on your spirit. There's
Yes.
certain things that people may do in this world that they shouldn't be doing, right?
Hmm.
And because they don't, it's always come to the space that even when I speak to a lot of people, it comes to the space of this is my only existence.
Yep.
I'm never going to exist again. I could just do whatever I want to do, whatever I want to do it, and I'm never going to
Mm.
exist again. And it's like, okay, well, aren't you energy?
Yeah.
Like, are you energy? Like, yes, I think you are. And energy doesn't die.
Yep.
So when we're looking into life, we have to come outside the concept that we've been
Hmm.
misled to think that it's okay to do whatever we want to do in the world.
Hmm.
There are no judgments or consequences to it,
Yes.
and that's not true. You think that, oh, when I'm unalive, I'm going to be cleansed of all those things. I'm never
Mhm.
going to have to address those things again, and they're never going to concern me again. I
Mhm.
have escaped my path.
Mhm.
I have escaped the purposes that I have put into the world, and I can
Mhm.
rest my eyes and go to sleep and let everybody else in the world deal with the process
Yeah.
that I created in the universe. So
Mhm.
we're looking at a lot of different things and challenges taking place in the world, even from economics and stuff like that. Those things are stemming from those that's in power,
Yeah.
right? They are creating these realities of economical disparities.
Mhm.
Right? They're the ones that's actually putting caps on salaries, putting caps on industries. They're the
Mhm.
ones that's blocking grants for entrepreneurs and things of that nature for small businesses. These things are actually taking place. I was listening to a friend of mine today. He was talking about they changed the real estate rates from low to high.
Mm.
Right? And once they changed the real estate rates from low to high, now everybody that has real estate is scrambling to try to deal with that imbalance.
Of course.
Right? So a lot of times the world, it may shift you into unknown spaces, unknown territories. It's
Mhm.
going to challenge your resolve. It's going to challenge who you say you are, what purpose that you say you stand for, the things that you say you're going to do. It's going to challenge you on all those different things. And sometimes you're going to put things in front of you that you say you want, and you're going to
Mhm.
realize when they come in front of you, I don't really want that.
Yes.
I changed my mind. I don't want to go down that route.
Yep. It's true. And you can only do that if you're really in tune with yourself.
That's right. That's
So you have to definitely know what you stand for. And
right.
what goes around comes around. So when you set that intention and what you decide is permissible for you or not, just be careful because it may not seem like there's a consequence today or tomorrow, but there is a consequence. There's a consequence for other people, but there's a consequence for you as well.
Yeah, that's right.
So you have to be very careful about the intentions that we use when we go out into the world and do what we do. And even when we think on the side where you're talking about things can happen, you can feel like the rug has been pulled from under you. Even when you feel like that, there's still, if you set the right intention and you're not thinking desperately like, I'm just going to do whatever it takes and I don't care who gets hurt in the process, I just need to build myself back up. If you stay away from that mindset, you stay in the place where you know you're meant to be, you stay in your purpose, you trust. That's a big one that I've learned. You
Mhm.
trust in your higher power, you trust yourself, and you trust your instincts, and you hold on to that trust. I always say, no matter what happens, God has my back.
Mhm. That's right.
And I remind myself of that.
That's right. Yeah, and that's pulling on that thread.
Hmm.
You pull that thread. When you need it. You always got that, and that's something I learned from Gandhi.
Hmm.
They used to have Gandhi in all these type of physiological, criminological, sociological conversations, whatever type of professionalism that actually deals with the mind, heart, and spirit, or even the people. Gandhi was in
Hmm.
all those different type of conversations. And it was one thing that Gandhi always did. They used to ask Gandhi a lot of questions in so many different forms. And some questions stumped Gandhi.
Hmm.
He couldn't answer those questions. And he would say, you know, I gotta leave that up to the most high.
Mm.
God gotta figure that out. I don't know the answer to that. You gotta
Yeah.
ask God that answer. Right? So when he did that, he used to take that responsibility of knowing all things away.
Hmm.
And
Oh,
this
yeah.
is one of the ways of making sure that you don't harm yourself, that you don't go into spaces believing that you know all things. That you
Yes.
are all things and that you're the purpose of all things. You're not.
Hmm.
We're only processes in the process of creation. And to
Hmm.
create different processes of creation according to our creation. The legacies that we leave behind are the legacies that we leave behind. Make no question about it. You cannot undo legacies that you have already
It's
created,
true.
right? Once you're gone. You know what I'm saying? You
Hmm.
can do it when you're here, but when you're gone, how are you going to undo that legacy? You can't.
Hmm.
So it's important to actually create that legacy now in real time according to your purpose. And regardless if you got to do it from the streets. You got to do it from where you got to do it from. You know, I was in Manhattan. I seen a woman with a sign that says domestic violence sucks, and she was sitting on the sidewalk. You know,
Mm.
and she was in a bad space. You know, but she still had a sign up. She still had a
Mm-hmm.
little cup. You know, and she was still trying to get some assistance in the world. And it's weird because you don't know her life. You don't know
Yes.
her backstory.
Mm-hmm.
You know, she could have been a CEO of such and 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 such, and run
Yep.
into the wrong person, and that person poured the wrong things into their
Mm-hmm.
cup
Mm-hmm.
and shattered their resolve, shattered
Yes.
and their spirit, shattered their emotional intelligence, which is actually
Mm-hmm.
really important for self care,
Mm-hmm.
right? Somebody shatter your emotional intelligence, it's impossible for you to be on a level that you're supposed to be on in your existence,
Yeah.
right? And for me, when I seen that as a man, I said, wow, that's powerful.
Mm-hmm.
She put a message out into the world that anybody that see it will not forget it.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't forget it, right?
Yeah.
So it shows that we are messengers.
Yes. Yes. For sure.
We are messengers. We telling each other, well, what you're
Mm-hmm.
doing, this ain't cool. That's not cool. That's all right,
Yep.
bro. But we can do it
Yep.
better. We're actually breaking it down and letting one another know in real time what's taking place. I go to Albany, I go to Washington, I go to different places. I'm thinking about going to Washington real soon, but I go to different places to actually manifest my purpose,
Mm-hmm.
right? And I look, there's a world of economics, and I'm always like thinking about new ways to take care of my family, and even since COVID, it's been really crazy as far as transitioning in some of these spaces,
Mm-hmm.
all these different mandates and things that they got going on,
Right.
and and it's just like just waiting, stepping back
Yep.
and seeing everything, from a different perspective. Like
Mm-hmm.
I'm looking at three concepts the other day, and there was one concept that was talking about retrospection. Then the other concept is talking about introspection, but it was another
Mm-hmm.
concept that's talking about prospection.
Okay.
And so prospection is actually like looking at those other two elements on the outskirts and analyze those two elements from another vantage point, right?
Mm.
Not being in the midst of it, but actually being on
Right.
the outskirts of it, so you can actually analyze it, break it down, dissect it, and then put it back together.
Mm-hmm.
Many times we have to do that with our lives. We have to break it down, dissect it, and then put it right back together.
Mm-hmm.
Because we may have a breakup, we may have major losses that take place in our lives.
Mm-hmm.
We may have a shift where we might be sitting at our job and say, I don't want to be here.
Yep.
How's my family going to feel that I'm not bringing this income in no more? I don't want to do this anymore. I don't want to be here anymore. I don't
Mm-hmm.
want to be a part of this movement anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Right? How do people feel about you making a transition? And yeah, it seems to be a selfish act, but it's an act at times that we have to do in order to be at peace with ourselves.
Yes.
But we can be at peace with the world can be at peace with us. Yeah, because we're
Yep.
doing everything the world wants us to do. So they really at peace with us. We got all the
Mm-hmm.
time and the energy for them. We can fix this and create that for them, and be available for this and be available for that, right? But all those things we're doing for them, we might even be doing for ourselves.
It's true. Yeah. It's the same thing with what you said about the people that we see on social media. We are channeling our energy into trying to figure out why we're not like them. And that's where our energy is going. Instead of the energy being on what can I do to really live my purpose in the world?
That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
It comes back to you, and it's really imperative that it does. It has
Yes.
to come back to you. There are spaces in this world that takes away hope,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yep.
You don't want to be in those spaces. You don't want to meet those people. It's a saying I'll be saying sometimes on my social media, but I say, if you meet somebody that's greater than you, run, right? And
Mm-hmm.
and and I'm serious about it because
Mm.
you don't want no one to have power over you.
Yes.
You don't want no one to be able to rule you and to dominate you,
Mm-hmm.
put you in unfamiliar dark spaces in the world. No one. I don't care who the person is, right? because it is your right according to your existence to live according to your existence, according to your rights. So when people try to come in and alter your direction, alter your insight, right? They're taking gifts that they can't replace.
Mm-hmm. So
So
you have to make sure you hold on to your power
that's right. At
because it's
all
up to
costs,
you
it's
not to
up
give
to
that
you
power away.
not to get that power away. You got to fight for it, scream for it, throw a
Mm-hmm.
vase across the room. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Whatever you got to do, you do it to keep yourself grounded for your
Mm-hmm.
purpose because your purpose is going to need you in a time where things are not going to be so nice, where things are not going to be so easy. You're going to need that value, that substance of who you are to get yourself out of that situation and to be
Mm-hmm.
able to continue on and with your journey. You
Mm-hmm.
know, you don't want to be downtrodden in the world. You don't want nothing to break your spirit. You know, nothing to put you inside of a nice little box.
Yes.
Break
And
every
then,
box.
sorry.
No, no, no. You go. You know how we talk. Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, just like that resolve you were talking about, when you set that resolve and that intention that you're going to stay on track, you don't know how you're going to do it, but you're going to stay on track. Things will come to you that you can't even imagine or expect. So when I started really spending a lot of time caring for my mother, then I had less time to work. I definitely had less energy to be putting myself out there in the world.
Uh,
And I had no idea how this was going to work out. Absolutely no idea. But this was the day to day of what was needed. And it just was what it was. And I figured it will all work itself out eventually. And people would send me referrals out of nowhere, people that I hadn't even spoken to in a while. And that's the universe taking
that's the
care.
universe taking care of you.
Yes, you're taking care of someone. That's the
Taking
universe
care of
taking care of
someone else, and
you
now the universe is going to take care of you.
because you're trusting that you're staying on track. Some way,
Yeah,
somehow, if
yeah,
you're meant to do what you're meant to do, then everything will conspire for it to happen.
yeah,
You don't
definitely.
have to fight to try to do it, you
Yeah,
know?
that love of self, that love of creation itself,
Mm-hmm.
right? Of life, of life itself. There's this budding element that's a part of our world. Life is always
Yeah.
moving, it's always shifting, it's always creating, and to be a part of that, and to understand that you're a part of that, and to bring the part of that into
Mm-hmm.
your world, into your life. It gives you all the substances or all the overflow of blessings that you need in order to give to others.
Yes. I have it written on my wall, my cup runneth over.
See, that's
And I
right.
remind myself of that, you
Yeah,
know?
that's something that Christ
Even
has
when
said.
it
Promise.
yeah, even when it
Yeah,
doesn't feel like it.
yeah, yeah,
It's still
yeah.
running over.
Yeah, it's always running over, and I think that, I've been seeing things you've been doing, you connecting with people, definitely commend your path, you know, you keep doing, what you're doing, lock yourself in. But the main thing is always have that space for yourself that's put to the side. So
Mm-hmm.
you'll always be able to grow, always be able to
Yes.
renew your spirit, renew your purpose in life, renew
Mm-hmm.
your values, who you
Yes.
are, and that's what I've been doing this time, renewing, pouring into others, and looking at life from a different spectrum.
Yes. Yeah, you do that so naturally. Yeah.
And I'm learning, as we go, I'm learning, and there really no a lot of dots to connect. It's not about dots to connect, it's
Mm-hmm.
about purposes to connect.
Yes,
Connect your purposes, not your dots.
it's true.
You looking for money. We all need money, including me, but you want your values and your purposes and your gifts to be the significance of who you are.
Yes.
And we're about to close out, so I definitely want you to,
Mhm.
say your last piece.
Sure.
Um, Definitely, send me the links. I'm gonna add it to the podcast, and people will be able to find you from the links and stuff like that.
Wonderful. Well, my last piece is to make sure you take care of you so that you can take care of others. And it doesn't have to be grand. In simple ways, take a break, tune in, every single day. And you'll be able to live out your purpose no matter what else is going on in your life and in the world.
That's great. You know, and with that, guys, keep getting the best. With that, I'm a doubter. Wish everyone well. Please subscribe, connect with us, help us grow. We can bring great content to y'all every day. Take care, guys. Don't hang up.